Hello there and welcome to the We Are Imps podcast. This week's guest is one of the biggest club legends in recent memory. He scored 50 goals for us, winning 3 trophies and 2 promotions along the way. It is, of course, the one and only Matt Rhead. Matt, how are you?
Very well, thank you. About yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How's it feel to be back? We're in the Legends Lounge. It wasn't the Legends Lounge when you were here. You essentially built this place.
Well, I won't go that far, but it looks nice. Very nice change. It wasn't here, like I said, this was never here when I was here, but what they've done with the place is incredible. So, yeah, it shows how far the club's come on.
Now, you left us in 2019. We'll come on to your time, particularly at Billericay, shortly, which I know was an interesting one, but give us a bit of an insight into what you've been up to lately.
So I was at Alfreton this season. I'm playing part-time, but obviously back JCB now. We're back on the tools working, and it's just back to what it is. I've got all them memories of obviously being here and enjoying myself, but at the end of the day, I knew eventually it was going to have to happen. I'd have to go back work and stuff, so that's where we're at.
Does it almost feel like a dream now, that period of professional football?
Yeah, definitely. I think someone pinched me and I'm back JCB, but no, it is what it is. Like you've still got to earn the money and look after the family. So, but like I say, the memories will last a lifetime no matter what. So, the time here and previous clubs will stay with me forever.
Go on then, let's talk about Billericay before we get on to so much of the time that happened here, because like I said before, you left us in 2019 and the Billericay move comes along. When that offer comes into you and your agent, what's going through your mind at the time, and give us a bit of an insight into why you went?
It's all happened so quick. We were pre-season friendly. My team, Stoke here, spoke to Danny Cowley before the game, and he basically saying he's got another striker lined up. I'm not going to get no game time. This financially viable. He advised that potentially it's best for your family and yourself to go and get a last payday as it was at the time, and sort of basically when he's saying that I came into football to play football, and when he's saying that I'm not going to be involved as much as I was the season before. Now I was sub quite a lot the season before, so I think it was the right thing to do at the time. Sold me the dream, and obviously it didn't work out like that.
And the big question is then, essentially give us a bit of an idea into what happened. How long were you there for in the end?
8 weeks in the end, I think I was there. So I never met the chairman, never did anything about the chairman. So I went down there. Jamie O'Hara was the assistant manager, I think. There was a manager in place. We had a good start. I think we were second in the league. And then the chairman turns up, sacks the manager. And he's the manager all of a sudden. And it was a testing time for him, being so professional here under the Cowleys to being a bit of a pub team, and half of the team were ex-professional footballers, the other half were just lads from locally. It was all over the place and stuff like that, and it realigned me that lower league football's a tough place to be.
What a strange sort of situation, because in one hand you've got, you mentioned it there before, so one last payday. A lot of us within football, we know how much money, particularly the owner, had at the time at Billericay, but at the same time, you've got the flip side, which is almost no professionalism whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, you always look back, don't you, and think, I should have done this, should have done that. But at the end of the day, I want to play football, and I've made the right decision for my family at the end of the day. Travelling here from where I lived would have been difficult, knowing that I wouldn't be in the squad most weeks. And it's something, like I say, the money they were offering was ridiculous, and I couldn't turn that down.
How difficult is it when you are in a place, particularly when it's far away from home? I know that Lincoln isn't your home as well, but you enjoyed your time here. How difficult is it as a footballer when you are, whether you're travelling down every day or staying down in a location where you're not enjoying it?
It's difficult. I wouldn't say I wasn't enjoying it here at Lincoln, but I wanted to play, and I think Danny Cowley knew I wanted to play, and he gave me that opportunity to leave. And for me, Lincoln, when I was here, it was like my home. Everyone treated me brilliant, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So don't get that mistaken, like, but you want play, don't you? You want to be a big part of what's going on, no matter if you think you're better than somebody else or not. But I enjoyed my time, and even when I wasn't playing, I still enjoyed it. We still had success, and like I say, the area was booming at the time, and the success that we had was unbelievable, to be fair, unthinkable.
So you get your pro contract at 28 years old at Mansfield, which we'll come on to shortly. But before then, of course, you're a semi-pro footballer. Could you give us a bit of an a view into what life is like as Matt Rhead, the semi-pro footballer. What's day to day, and how much were you enjoying it? Are you able to?
I think when you're young, you don't notice. I've seen both sides, obviously. Before, when I was young, enjoying it, looking to move up, do as best I can, play at the highest standard possible, and then obviously after, when I finished full time, coming back down the other way. So when I was young, it doesn't really affect you. You go work at 5 o'clock in the morning, you get home at 1, straight back work at 5. It's sort of away games that we played all over the place. I remember playing Dover here on a Tuesday night, and that's when we were full time. You don't get until 2, 3 o'clock. It doesn't really affect you when you're younger, but I've always said that part-time football's the toughest football. You've got full-time work, and then people come and pay, watch you play football as well, that you owe them the decency to put a performance in. So it's the toughest football. Full-time football, loved every minute of it. And then what I've noticed more during the last couple of seasons probably took its toll, to be fair. Playing part-time, plus holding down a full-time job. Obviously when you're older, it's a lot more difficult. Kids as well, obviously got clubs and stuff in the week you've got to think about, and it's not easy. It's not. Nobody's getting moan about getting paid playing for football, but it's not the easiest. It's really demanding, to be fair, and I appreciate everybody who does that role.
But you were paying to play at some points as well, am I right in saying?
Yeah, early days I was paying £5 subs, I think, when I first started out at 16, 18, and then moved up and slowly got first wage pack, I think £32 for my first one at Kids Girls, buzzing, richest man in the place, 32 quid, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, it's really tough. You're travelling, I suppose the further you go up, conference and stuff, and where we're at now, National League North, you're travelling, you do, and then you've got to get up at 5, 4 o'clock in the morning and go work. It's brutal. It's not easy, but I suppose if you're a football supporter at that level as well, you're doing the same sort of thing. Obviously not playing, but it's enjoyable, but it's tough.
28 years old, your first contract comes through. Yeah. What is that moment like for you?
Well, it was a bit of I was at Eastwood originally, went to Corby, and then halfway through the season, my manager, who I was at Eastwood with, Paul Cox, was at Mansfield, so he said, come sign for us. But I said, I'm still working. He said, just come part-time. I was only part-time player at Mansfield the first season. So I went there, and then we got into the playoffs, did really well. I think similar sort of thing. I was coming off the bench, doing well, changing games. And then the decision came at 28, do I go full-time or not? A lot of talks with the family. Mrs. probably not up for it at the time. Obviously, it's a big risk, isn't it, with having 2 young kids as well. But I thought I don't want to live with no regrets. I won't give it at least 1 year. If it says 1 year, it's 1 year. Kept all my options open at JCB to go back, as you can see now. But yeah, it was a gamble, and luckily for me, that season we got promoted to League Two. We had a really good run back end of the season, and we played Liverpool that year in the FA Cup as well. So the decision was right for me, and like I say, my journey started at Mansfield.
You mentioned the Liverpool game there, but of course you ended up beating us to get there. What are your memories of that? And I know you had a bit of, as you so often do, had a bit of banter with some of the away fans that they were at the time.
So I was warming up, obviously sub at the time, because I was only part-time, so I was warming up, getting loads of stick off a few fans down the bottom corner, and it was a crazy game, if I remember. I think 2-1, 3-2. Alan Power scored, I think, 3-2, and then last minute of the game, corner cross came in, headed it in the net, so straight over to the fan, try and find him. But I enjoyed the camaraderie with the fans. It spurred me on. It made me want to do better. And some people wilt under it, don't they? But I find it give me an incentive to do well.
Is that the case for you across the board? Because we know that you enjoyed winding up opposition players and opposition fans. Was it something that you did because not only did it harm them a little bit, but it made you a better player?
Yeah, 100%. It benefited me 100%, because I feel like I have to prove people wrong for what they think, and what they can't do this, you can't do that. It's always drove me, from even a kid, I want to prove people wrong. So I think everywhere I've been away from home, you get stick and you get that goal, and it's 10 times better if you have got that stick stuff. So prove people wrong is something I've always had to do.
So you gave the Lincoln fans at the time a little bit of stick, but it was worth it, because you then play Liverpool.
Yeah.
They come to Mansfield, don't they? And What was that experience like? Which players were you playing against, and could you feel the difference in quality, the gulf?
Yeah, definitely. I think I came on about 60 minutes in that game, 1-0 down. Suarez scored 2-0, and bowled it in. And then we got one back. Matt Green scored, and they were hanging on a bit at the end. But players like we trained on the pitch all that week. Manager would dig the pitch up. Players like Suarez, even like Stuart Downey, you wouldn't class him as a world class Premier League player, but they just didn't even make any difference to him. Sturridge's first game, he was unbelievably quick. It was just a complete different game. We tried to impede him as best we could, and the result, probably 2-1, doesn't seem too bad, but you can tell the difference straight away.
Digging the pitch up as well. Was that an idea at the time where you're like, right, we've just got to do what we can do here to try and put them off?
We were obviously a direct team. The pitch was terrible. I think there was big swamps in the middle of the pitch because we trained on it all week. It was middle of winter, and it didn't affect him really. I think Shelby played in midfield around the show. Well, they had Sterling on the bench, all big name players. It didn't affect him. Unfortunately, we didn't oppose ourselves as much. And that's something I carried out here with the FA Cup as well, because I think Danny Cowley saying a few times we probably give him too much respect. And when teams come here, I was saying to some of the players, and we can't give him no respect, and you get in the faces. And that experience with Mansfield stood me in good stead further down the line.
So from Mansfield, you get the move.
So I was there a couple of years. Adam Murray took over at Mansfield. Paul Cox had been sacked. He basically said, you're not going to be playing. So similar to I've said previously, I won't play football. I haven't finished work at 28 to sit on the bench and watch football matches, which meant I had to drop down the league. Lee Beavers, actually, he had already set up a move to here with Chris Moyses. Said, the manager's interested in you. So as soon as I spoke to Chris, to be fair, he was a proper nicest guy you'll ever meet, sort of thing. Come down, let's see what you think. I was like, travelling, it was a bit too much. And he sold it to me, to be fair. He basically bent over backwards, saying, I'll build a team around you. And like I say, that season, I think I got 24 goals. But enjoyed every minute of it, to be fair. The travelling didn't mean anything when you're playing every week, I think. Like you say, more when you're not playing, you realise the travelling's a bit more, but I enjoyed it. It was really good. Yeah,
what were those times like? Because the club then was a very different and absolute, as we so often say, testament to Chris Moyses for what he did at the time. Even just bringing you in was a stroke of genius from himself. I mean, how different a club was it then?
Completely different. Night and day to where right now where we were when I left. I think we had like 2,000-3,000 people a year. The players he brought in, he was very clever with the players he brought in. He brought like Luke Waterfall, Terry Hawkridge, Liam Earn even did really well until he got injured. He was really good. Jack Muldoon, all proper footballers who knew he'd get 100% out of, I think. So he was clever with that, and it was a good atmosphere, to be fair. He was a proper good manager, a bit old school. It's probably suited me because all the managers I've previously done well with were old school managers, so it was a good time to be here. It was enjoyable, a good bunch of lads. It was good.
Tell us a little bit about Army Camp pre-season.
Oh, brutal.
What was that like?
That was retirement, that was. Went for 3 or 4 days, I think. It was very tough. Like I say, Chris Moyses was old school, proper old school. Team bonding was a massive thing. I think a few times we went golf in the week to break the training up and stuff. He just had different ideas, and he knew how to get the lads together. But the Army Camp was tough. I think we ran for about 5 mile with 14-metre chunk of wood, tyres, carrying people. But like I say, it was all about team building and team bonding, and that was too tough. I think we had a game of snooker last night as a reward, but he was on an Army Camp, sleeping on bloody army beds and all that. So it was a good experience, but not one I'd want to do again.
So what was that, 24 goals in 45 games, something like that?
Yeah, something
like that. That's a very, very good season, but come the end of it, an offer, and correct me if I'm wrong, but an offer from Barrow comes in at that stage and is very, very tempting for you.
Yeah, definitely. I had a hernia from Christmas onwards that season. So me and Paul Fallon both had hernias. We carried on through the season. Rather than having it done during the season, we waited till the end, and Paul Cox, my old manager, was at Barrow at the time. They've got loads of money. Chairman's from America saying he'll give me an assistant manager's job, coaching role, couple of year deal, security for my family. Train in Manchester, an hour away from my home. Head was turned. I knew that a bit up in the air of what Chris was going to do. Wasn't sure he was going to come in, how that was going to go. So yeah, my head was turned. Yeah, simple as that. Paul Cox, my old manager, I knew I'd play every week.
So you're off. You're going to Barrow.
Done, yeah. Well, as far as I'm aware, I had a few chats with the chairman. He wasn't very happy at the time, which I can understand. And yeah, it was on the verge of being a done deal, I think. And then get a phone call. Danny Cowley's took over. He wants to meet me, and I was like, don't need to. I'm not going to be here potentially. That's the way my head's at. So he said, too late. Me and Nicky were already on our way. So I was thinking, oh God, these two London chaps are coming up. Meet me. We met him in a Starbucks in Stoke. Within 10 minutes, I was here. They turned me head, Nicky. The passion they had. I've never seen. Yeah, it's the way they spoke. Similar sort of thing to the Chris Moyses thing. Sold me the dream. Build a team around you. This is what we're going to do. The chat we had within half an hour, well, 10 minutes. I was here. Yeah, I was sold. They're so professional. The energy that they've got, I can't explain it. The energy that they had for football was infectious. To be fair, so yeah.
It's an obvious thing to say, but it sounds like professionalism is a huge, and has always been a huge thing for you, whether it's within football or outside of football. Is, you know, again, obvious question, but why is that the case? Why is it something that's so important for you? Forget location or anything like that.
I don't know. I think maybe something instilled in me that I think that somebody has to take something serious. These were winners. You could tell straight away. They breathed winning. And I think they even speak further down the line. This talking about, if me and Nicky go for a game of tennis or play cards, the same as me. I play the kids at any sport. I won't beat them. Anything, and I probably related a little bit to them because obviously their background through work, they come up through the lower leagues. So yeah, I could see a little bit of myself in them, to be fair. And like I say, speaking to him for 10 minutes, I knew that was the right thing. Right,
so the decision's been made. First year under the Cowleys, one of the biggest moments that I can remember from that first part of the season was Torquay away. Certainly from a fan's perspective, it felt like that was the game where people started to talk to say, actually, we could be onto something here in terms of a promotion charge. Was that how you felt at the time? And tell us about the adulation of scoring those goals.
Not at the time. I knew that the two major things for that season for me at the start were obviously we signed Sean Raggett. I played against him the season before, brutal defender, couldn't get away from him. They played a man-to-man marking. Really strong, really good defender. So I knew that was a good signing. Then Nathan Arnold came in as well. Vast experience in this league, got promotion. I knew that they'd signed two good players there. So I think you're already on a high there. You're thinking you got two good players extra to what we'd already got with Chris, and you're thinking that strengthened the team. So yeah, I had a hernia coming back. And he didn't do much pre-season. Remember me and Mike Hine just spent pre-season and Luke Waterfall together, which I've never done before. I don't like getting injured too much because I don't like being off the grass, but enjoyed that. It came back, first game, Torquay away was one of the first games. It was a tough game. I think got a penalty early on. Sam Ashoo got brought down, scored the penalty. Also cut my head, I think, that day. Nathan Blissey headed me in they scored. So went to one each, big 6-8 stitches, bandaged up. And then 80th minute, I've never done a box-to-box run before like that. I think they had a corner, we cleared it, Terry Oakridge ran down, just stood it up, headed it in, and it was, yeah, you sort of realise then that we've got a team who can go to the end. We knew the fitness wouldn't be a problem, although Danny Cowley's wasn't old school training, it was football based. It's probably what it's all about now. He's probably a bit ahead of where a lot of people were in our league at the time. Training was tough, but he knew how to manage every player individually, which I don't think anybody was doing at that time. I don't think anybody was doing analysis, which he did. He was really hot on, so we felt like the hard work that they put in gave us an advantage, if that makes sense. Yeah. And we got a win away from home, like I say, six stitches in my head on the way home, and that was their first 3 points.
And not a bad one either. Just on your point with regards to Danny and Nicky's training, do you think they get a little bit of an unfair reputation maybe across the English Football League at the moment with regards to the actual playing style. You've played under them for so long. You've trained under them so many times. Can you just tell us what they are like to play for tactically, as well as all the obvious motivation and stuff that comes with it?
Yeah, tactically, it's second to none. I've never seen anything like what they do tactically. Both of them got a plan for every game. We played Burnley away, and the tactic was completely different. So obviously, we play to our strengths, and any good manager does that. They'll be renowned for being a long ball team and whatever, because that's how we played initially. But the attention to detail, even I spoke about it before to other people. Kickoffs, we used to practice kickoffs, like for training ground kickoffs. Throw-ins, we used to practice. All these small 1%, you used to call them, all stacked up to be making us a success at the time. And to say that they're just a long ball managerial outfit is completely wrong. At
the time when they're telling you, they're going up to you and they're saying, listen, Matt, we're going to practice this corner for the next, 35, 40 minutes. Are you all buying into that? Are you all there going, yeah, brilliant, we know exactly what's going to work? Are you there going, flipping heck, we'll just have a game?
I think time corners and set pieces are a bit of a chore, to be fair. It's end of the, say if it's raining or outside, you're standing around, as half of you doing it, half of you not, sort of get a grasp of what the team's game be. It's a bit half-hearted, but they wouldn't be like that. We'd do it, and we got so many goals from set pieces, which was due to the work that we put in. And when you start getting your rewards for standing 20, 30 minutes at the end of a training session, I suppose you get more of a buy-in, don't you? So I think that's what they did, and some of the things they did in blocking people and moving people around, and the way they sold it to you, because obviously we did analysis first. The way they showed you what the Sheffield United were one at the time, they were really good on set pieces, and look what they do, and we can do a bit of this. And I think even England took over one of our set pieces at the time, but no, it was good. Like I say, if you get reward for what you're doing, you'll keep doing it, won't you? So I think that was their selling point.
What other moments in that season then stand out for you? Because there's so many, and we'll come on to the cup one in a minute, but in terms of the league itself, you scored so many important goals, so many big moments. I want to mention Gateshead before we get on to the Macclesfield scenes. We are running on time here. But throughout the league season, which moments, maybe something that the fans don't know about, can you give a bit of insight into what happened? Because there were so many games.
There was a lot of games, I think. I think we had a belief that I think the FA Cup, even when I was at Mansfield, the reason we went up that year is because we played Liverpool and they didn't really beat us by 5 and 6 nils. It was a tough game that we could have won, so it gives you confidence into that game. I think as the FA Cup went on during that season, we got confidence, and we believed that we could beat anyone. I think the number of games we played was pathetic, really. It was unbelievable. 60 people moan about games. We were playing one every 3-4 days. But I think towards the end of the season, I think one game down here I remember, Tranmere, I think the Forest Green game was massive. Alex Woodyard scores, Raggett scores last minute, Waterfall gets a goal as well, and I think we're 2-0 down, turning it to 3-2, you start thinking, because they would have gone
12 points
ahead, and you'd think the season was sewn up, and then we beat them down here, and then I remember Tranmere was one game we won late on. But I remember one, Sam Abergam, we were running on empty after the Gateshead game, to be fair. I think Danny Cowley spoke after the game saying these lads, we'll give him a couple of days off, and he'd never do that. We had a couple of days off, try recharge, but I think the desire of the team and the men that we'd got on in the team at the time obviously got us through. The mentality that Danny and Nicky had instilled in us, that he used to always say, if a tiger jumps out of the trees now, he'd run as fast as he could. So I think that was his thing. But yeah, there was tough games, but when you're getting late results like the Gateshead game with 1-0 down, don't look like we've even gained score. I think Raggett had a shot at the side netting and stuff, and then you turn the game in a blink of an eye, you sort of get that belief that it's your year, sort of thing.
And the fans helped as well, didn't they? I mean, you get 10,000 at this stadium every single time in the National League, and you've got the 617 squadron backing you, and you've got the fans singing your specific song as well. Yeah, what was that like as a player? And maybe, how can you relate that? Well, I guess it might be difficult to relate it, but with your previous job, and everything that you would have wanted out of professional football, I imagine, came in that season.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, the support came so quick and so fast, and it stayed as well. Like for all the time I was here, it was 3,000 to 3,000 first season, and then 5, 7s, and then I think when people see what's happening here, everybody wants to be part of it, which was incredible. Everybody wants. I used to stop down a few nights a week, and you're walking around and people speaking to you. And like, God, this lucky I lived in Stoke, because it was like a proper footballer, funny enough, and it was good. Like, I mean, that people wanted to speak to you, and yeah, it was really. I enjoyed the time here, like I say, and the fans were the reason this club got where it is today. Simple as that. The players played a part, but the support we got at Gateshead, I think we filled the whole of their side. I always remember Ipswich away, 5,000 Lincoln fans getting down there, FA Cup, and you couldn't hear anybody else. I remember the only one was the Arsenal game, like 20,000 fans. Incredible times for such a conference team to get that sort of support. Just shows where the potential of the club, really, I suppose.
Really interesting. You talked there about this sort of the difference between walking around Stoke, of course, where you're from, and of course the team you support, and walking around Lincoln. You're essentially a celebrity in this city. Then I'm sure if you walk down the streets of Lincoln now, exactly the same would happen. How did you cope with that fame at the time?
I enjoyed it. To be fair, when the FA Cup was going and we'd been on telly a few times, a few people in Stoke would stop you at petrol stations and stuff and ask you how you're getting on. And, which, it's like I say, I always enjoy speaking to people about football, and I'll talk about football forever to anybody. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. But I suppose if I can understand why some players don't like it, but I was just caught up in the success. You start worrying, I think, when nobody wants to speak to you. So I enjoyed the time, and like I say, I'll talk to anybody about the football that success that we had here. So yeah, it was good.
Right, we've got to get on to the cup run then.
Yep.
First question, most important one as well. What was it like having Joey Barton in your pocket for 90 minutes?
Well, 45, I would have said. I think first off, he had a few shots actually first off, and then he just all of a sudden, I don't know what they spoke about at half time, but he changed completely, and he was standing on my toes, like trying. I think I elbowed him a few times in the face first off, but we knew we had to drag him into a battle. But I think the Cowley spoke during that week that they aren't used to having the football, so that'll be a negative for them, because they'd be expected to dominate the game. I think Andre Gray missed a couple of half chances, and the longer the game went on, we always said we'll break the game down into certain 15 minutes or 20-minute blocks and all that. So, and when we got a set piece, to be fair, it shouldn't have even been a corner. I think one of our players headed it out, and it was the best moments of my footballing career was obviously Sean Raggett heading that over the line, and it's chaos, it's pandemonium, 5,000, 6,000 fans, game berserk, and I see some videos of people crying and like supporters and stuff. So it was incredible. They couldn't do nothing either, because it was right at the end of the game. I think if you picture a game so important to a club and how you'd want to win it, I think that's how it'd be.
Was that specific moment something you'd practiced over time as well? Just going back to what you were saying about the idea of practicing these corners and throw-ins and goal kicks or whatever it was that it looked very, despite the fact it's right at the end of the game, it looked quite formulaic.
Yeah, definitely. That corner was one that we did more than probably any other corner. Stand in a square, 4 of us. I'm supposed to block the man, but I missed him and pushed my man into Luke Waterfall's man. Cross was over hit, because it's supposed to be Luke who's supposed to be heading it at goal. So luckily Luke decides to head it back across, and Sean Ragg's probably one of the best headers in the team, heads it straight in the net. And then you're waiting it felt like forever for the referee blows whistle. It's like time stood still. And then as soon as we ran off, I knew that they wouldn't have time to get back. I think we brought Jamie McComb on straight away. Just shut up shop sort of thing. But yeah, it was incredible. I couldn't even explain. But it was a shame, because a lot of it went on about, the Joey Bartons try and cheat, get me sent off. But the biggest thing was we won a game against the Premier League side away, I think. And at that time, don't know about any other players, but I felt invincible, like we were getting Arsenal, and I was thinking we can beat them. And it sounds crazy now, like.
I remember reading the article.
Mad. Honestly, that's how I felt like we were favourites, to be fair, in my head. That's how the whole team felt, the whole atmosphere around the place, and we knew Danny and Nicky would have a plan for us for that game, but it was a whirlwind. Like, looking back now, you think crazy. What do you even think?
Well, that's a good point, and something I want to press you on really is the fact that, did you get a chance to enjoy it? Because when that amount of fans, we enjoyed it. I know for a fact all of the fans here were like, right, this might never happen again, so we need to enjoy it as much as possible. But as players, how can you even enjoy something like that against Burnley when you know that on Tuesday you might have a Wrexham at home or something?
We had
when
Ferriby away on the Tuesday night.
Ferriby away.
And we won 1-0. It was full, similar sort of corner, to be fair. Heads it in, but I don't think until probably like now I'm probably coming to the end, not playing as much at the minute, obviously due to injury. I sort of realised, wow, it was an incredible achievement. You see clips of the FA Cup's on, and you see Raggett's goal here and there. You think, wow, it was incredible. And so every so often you see pictures of like the Arsenal ground when it was full of Lincoln fans, and probably didn't appreciate it at the time because you're in a whirlwind. But now, like, it's an incredible achievement. Like when you see teams getting to the second and third round at the minute, you're like, wow, it's incredible. Alverton get to second round, my team gets to second round, obviously lose, but that's an achievement for them as well. So I think when you think of it like that, what we did was incredible and great to everybody, I think.
And I know the manager had a good chat with Arsene Wenger after the game, which he was very grateful about. Did you speak to any of the Arsenal playing squad? Did you get a chance to speak to Mr. Wenger, anything like that? Anything you could tell us?
To be fair, after the game, I remember being really disappointed that it had come to an end because it was a roller coaster, and came off the pitch, went in the change room. It was quiet, to be fair. Nobody really spoke. I think Danny Cowley said a few words. Just he never used to say "well done" for losing, sort of thing, because a lot of the lads hated losing. Everybody really, to be fair, at that time. And so then Mertesacker, the Arsenal captain at the time, came in and said, "Come in, let us in their changing rooms." I've never seen anything like a swimming pool in the changing rooms.
You mean you didn't have a swimming pool?
No, unfortunately, we had a paddling pool. We used to have wheelie bins for cold water, relaxation stuff. What Danny used to press on everybody, but recovery. But no, it's swimming pools. Went round. Not a lot of them could speak English, to be fair. Got a bit of memorabilia signed, and that was about it, really. Yeah.
That's inspiring, though. Again, it's why you go into the profession, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to be on the same pitch as some of them players was something I'd never believe I could possibly be in front of so many people. Don't get me wrong, we didn't win, and I think it was a bit like a boxing fight at the end. But it was an experience, and like I say, every one of them players will treasure it forever, I'm sure. So
we're back in the Football League then, and you signed a contract. Was that something that you needed more than 5 minutes to think about, or was it straight away, John?
No, it's all obviously that season before. I knew where I wanted to be, 100%. Nicky and Danny believe that we can do something next year in League Two. Basically, just get a job done, signed before the end of the season, ready for the next season. So, no problem whatsoever.
And was it, obviously you played in the EFL before, so for you it wasn't exactly uncharted territory, but was it slightly strange going from a division where you were literally the top dogs to, almost, I mean, you weren't obviously fighting for relegation, but teams that often come out of the National League, yes, they're often challenging at the top, but sometimes they find it quite tough. How did you deal with it?
Yeah, I think it was another challenge. I think we played a lot better grounds than what we were playing at before. But I think it was a new experience. We obviously got a lot of belief as a team, made a few additions again, which was always good, bringing players in, competition for places. And I think, it was one that we knew we had enough about us because of the cup run again. Similar, we knew we could beat teams in that league, we can beat teams higher, so we still had that confidence that we could do something well next season, and we'll be looking for a top half finish, definitely.
Yeah, and which moments stand out for you in that season then?
Wembley, definitely, 100% there. Okay, we knew we didn't get promotion. We lost extra in the playoffs, which was disappointing. We should have beaten Miri at the post, at the crossbar with the header. We had a few half chances, but we probably weren't ready at that time for get promotion again. But to get silverware again, play at Wembley, which everybody wants to do, and win at Wembley. I don't think it'd been the same if we'd lost. I probably wouldn't talk about it, but it was amazing.
Or if you'd have got sent off.
Yeah, that was a plan actually. We've been saying how good the goalkeeper was all week. Doesn't drop anything. Kicking's immense. Man United goalkeeper. If we can, put one on him. But didn't realise how far I was away from him. When I see a few people at work show me clips of on the computer, internet, whatever, of how he should have been sent off. And I see the ref a few months few years ago after probably playing last season, saying, I should have sent you off at Wembley. Here's another yellow card. Cheers. So just totting them up. But no, I was lucky, but I believe, and I tell Alec Whitehouse I'm the assist for the goal he scored. Keeper never dropped anything. Safety stands in the league. Shrewsbury top of the league at the time. Drops one. Scruffy shot from Waterfall. Whitehouse taps it in, so definitely shook up from getting flattened. He acted like he was dead on the floor, but he jumped straight back up. The usual keeper trick. I'm not a fan of goalkeepers, to be fair. So they just jump back up, don't they, and crack on. That
comes as no surprise to me that you're not a fan of goalkeepers.
Keepers and referees are not my favourite topic.
But when that referee's walking over and you're, stood there in front of, we had 27,000 there. I'm guessing Shrewsbury probably had about 12 or 15,000. Yeah. When you're stood there in essentially front of 40,000 people, is it a long 10, 15 seconds? Obviously no VAR.
It was concerning. Like I'll be honest with you. Obviously, loads of tickets for my family come down, and people had travelled all the way from Stoke, saying within, 10 minutes, sent off wouldn't have been a great idea. But thankfully, like I say, the referee saw sense and realised the keeper was faking it and cracked on. But no, it was a mad moment, but thankfully it didn't cost the team.
You're obviously a huge football fan growing up. Were you one of those that thought about football as winning a trophy at Wembley? Obviously, a lot of English football fans growing up, they want to win the FA Cup at Wembley. All right, well, the next best thing in Lincoln's case was to win the Checkatrade at Wembley. That happened. Was that just another reminder as to what an incredible few years it was for you personally?
Yeah, definitely. I think the mad thing was the first trophy I saw Stoke, my team, win was the Autoglass, which is the Checkatrade. So Mark Stein scores, we win 2-1 at Wembley. So then, when I think at the time, what a massive trophy that was. Sort of, when you're playing at it at the time, you're like, it's just a League Cup trophy. When you think when I was a kid how much it meant to go and see them win, pick up a trophy, it sort of relates to what the fans were seeing here. To be fair, so it was an amazing time, and some of the players that I idolised as a kid won this trophy. So I sort of understand what it means to people. So. It's a bit weird that was my first trophy, and it sort of sits nice with what we got here, so it was really good.
So we'll come full circle then. You're now with Alfreton, am I right in saying? We mentioned before about Billericay. You went to Borehamwood after then.
Spell there, playoffs. We did all right, fell short a little bit. They're all set up to do well, but they just not got there for one reason or another.
And so your time at Alfreton, how is it going for you at the moment, and what else are you doing alongside that?
Playoffs last year, did really probably overachieve, to be fair. Knocked a few goals in this season. Can't play. Got a neck injury from years of heading footballs, I think they're saying. So just waiting, get an operation, and then see what the future holds.
You gave me a little wry smile with the neck injury and the idea of heading the football, but that's the stark reality of it, isn't it? Particularly as a target man, or I'm guessing definitely a central defender. This is, it's still a physical sport, and you were playing football for much longer than just the 28 to 38 or whatever it was.
It does take its toll on you in the end, and like I say, I wouldn't change anything for the world, but got an operation now, get a little cage put in my neck, and see where we go from there. But like I say, it is what it is, part of what I did, and like I say, I wouldn't change it for the world. So hopefully it'll all go well. And
are you back with old colleagues at JCB?
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. We're JCB and New Toxeter, so we're met one of the old. When I'd realised that I finished at Borehamwood, was getting part-time, looking for jobs, coaching, local, and didn't really enjoy it. It was like babysitting at the time. I don't mind doing like part-time coaching for adults and stuff like that, but that's what I'd look to do. But it didn't come. One of my old bosses at the time rung me up, said, "Would you be interested?" I was like, "Not really," but I went, spoke to him, sold me the dream. You can do whatever you want, come back, and that's where I'm at now. I was just going through the process of moving up the ladder at JCB. So, the
lads giving you any stick for your little tenure within football? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, they always on Twitter and looking at goals, and they always show the Henderson tackle, should I say, collision. They always laugh about it, but yeah, I get a bit of stick, but I think they enjoy it a little bit, so I gave a little bit back.
Well, Matt, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the We Are
appreciate
Imps podcast. You are without a doubt our most asked for guest, if you like. You've certainly lived up to expectations, so we look forward to seeing you back at the LNER Stadium very soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.